Wait, there's something very weak coming through.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
We, the fans of Star Wars, do this day send forth this declaration to the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and to all people in the world, to make clear to all the purposes and goals of this rebellion. We firmly acknowledge the importance and necessity of the control of the franchise being in the hands of one person. We accept that for a contiguous, non-contradictory continuity to be established, much of the old must be done away with to make way for the new, so that we can enjoy this universe without questioning how something makes sense. We believe that those in charge of a franchise derives its power as a creative force from the consent of the fandom of that franchise. We believe that, should fans, lifelong fans especially, be purposefully shunned, insulted, and tossed aside by those at the head of the franchise, it is the unalienable right of said fans to boycott or force change in such leadership. We believe that Lucasfilm has willfully and malignantly discarded the fans in the sole pursuit of a misguided political agenda, and therefore, it is our unalienable right to refuse to fund the franchise and to call on Disney to change those who are in charge of Lucasfilm. We do not take this course lightly. Franchises long since established should not be changed for slight and transient causes, but when those helming a franchise display a history of callous disrespect for said franchise, its long and storied history, and its massive fan base, displaying a clear design to subjugate totally and absolutely the characters we have come to know and love solely to push a social narrative, it is our right, our duty, to depose of that leadership. The short history of the current leadership of Lucasfilm is that of continued grievous offenses and insults against all consumers who have been fans of the franchise for any period of time before it was purchased by Disney. You have disrespected the characters of the original trilogy, treating them as mere tools and stepping stones for new characters, rather than the heroes they actually are. You have used your new characters as toys and tools to push an agenda of masculine inferiority. You have lied to George Lucas when you told him that legacy characters would be protected and make sure they would continue to live in the way that he had created them. You have lied to George Lucas when you said you wanted to do something for the fans, and have now fully reneged upon that promise, telling Mark Hamill that the stories you want to tell matter more than the fans. You have given the core trinity of characters from the original trilogy terrible send-offs, Luke Skywalker dying as a sour old man who couldn't be bothered to come help his sister in person or mourn the loss of his best friend, Han Solo dying by the blade of his own son in a move that ultimately had zero impact on his psychological state moving forwards, Leia flying back to the Radis in a comedic scene that reminds one of Mary Poppins, and will shamefully forever be how Carrie Fisher's last outing in film will be remembered. You have shamelessly attacked anyone who voiced a negative opinion, calling them racists, sexists, misogynists, telling them that they must have a problem with strong women, telling them that only overweight white males and members of the alt-right dislike the direction you are taking the franchise. You have refused to acknowledge any complaints as legitimate from the fans, and do not even recognize that people who are not male or are not Caucasian dislike your modus operandi as well. We, the fans of Star Wars, do therefore in the name and by the authority of the free market of the world solemnly publish and declare our intentions to fight and oppose you and your socio-political ideals by any and all means at our disposal, to refuse any decree from Lucasfilm as to what we should like that is contrary to the right of opinion, to bring about your destruction and the destruction of your career in anything relating to filmography, to forever restore the true characterizations of these beings in a galaxy far, far away. To these ends, we pledge our merchandise, our honor, and our wallets.
What a bunch of malarkey!
You're telling me.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I should get my powdered wigs and muskets or
right.
or if this is the 95 Theses, but it's something, isn't
America.
America.
Well, hello, fellow Galactic listeners. I'm Todd Hoffman, and this is WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 78. Today we're going to talk about, well, everything that Aaron just talked about. We, the fans of Star Wars. Joining me in this discussion today is Mr. Aaron Julian.
Hi, I'm a fan of Star Wars.
Me too. Heather has the day off because, well, she was out in Cali hanging out with the mouse.
Mm-hmm. House of Mouse.
The evil overlord of Disney.
Yep. She's a turncoat, everybody.
Yeah, she is.
She shall be shunned.
She'll be shunned. You could check us out on the social media at WSTR Media, all one word, all lowercase. You can email us at mailbox@WSTRmedia.com. You can leave us a voicemail, 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787. You can catch all our catalog of episodes at www.WSTRmedia.com. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. You can get a free audiobook at www.audibletrial.com/WSTR. Over 180,000 titles. Aaron, that is a lot of books.
It's more than I have.
Right. You could get them on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player, any kind of device that has that kind of internet connection. You could go to audibletrial.com/WSTR to get your free book.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
Remember once upon a time they had books on tape?
Yes.
Man, you had to go to the library. You had to check them out.
You
had to rewind them because the guy before you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Or you left off in the middle of somewhere. Had to load it into your Walkman.
Yep.
And you had to listen to it and then rewind it and then bring it back to the library before they take you another one. What a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Each chapter was like a tape, you know?
I know, right? And now you could get it anytime, anywhere. You can pause. You can resume. You can skip ahead, skip back.
Yeah.
Read it at like double speed.
Yeah.
Man, that's like having your own personal butler follow you around and read you stories. Read faster, read slower, read more intense.
I want 1.25 times, please.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
So all that brought to you through the power of the internet and the power of Audible.
Right. And there's a certain book that's coming up that I think we're going to dive into, my friend.
And what's that?
It's a little two guys.
Little blue dude?
A little blue dude. Anakin Skywalker. Thrawn.
Papa Smurf? Oh, wait.
Papa Smurf. Oh, yeah. Gargamel.
This is more like Warlord Smurf.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Papa Thrawn and, Papa Vader before he was Vader, so there's a new Thrawn book coming out by Timothy Zahn.
Ooh.
Thrawn and Zahn. Thrawn Alliances. And it's coming
canon.
out. It's canon. And it's coming out in July. I believe July 27th it drops. And if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, they have a alternate cover.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's like Anakin and Clone Wars.
Scalp that on eBay.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, but you could. No, you don't have to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Well, you could. You get the Audible. Could get the cover, and then you could get the Audible free book, and you would have sound effects with it.
And music. Man, that's like having a live orchestra just follow you around everywhere you go.
It's literally having like John Williams like at your beck and call, like Maestro.
Yeah,
play me.
Even 100 years ago, that'd be heaven. Guess what? It's right here.
That's right here. All right here. So again, you could try audible.com/WSTR and get your free Audible book. And you could, the other thing is like, you could get this one and then you're like, I don't like it, but it's yours forever. It's your precious. It could be like your one little thing,
Your one reminder of why you hate WSTR and their promotional deals.
Right, exactly. But
you can help us. It didn't have to cost you anything.
It's free. It's free. You can help us out, and you'll be helping yourself out, gaining some knowledge about Star Wars or any other of the 179,999,000 books that you could choose.
Get your audio cookbook if you're so declined. Do they have audio cookbooks?
I don't know, bro.
I would imagine so, because like blind people got to eat too. Was that insensitive?
I think that was not politically correct.
Whoopsie.
Whoops. But anyways.
Yes, they do have audio cookbooks. How about that? There you go.
So once again, if you're not blind, or you're never blind if you have the Force. So there you go. Audible trial.
You saved it. You saved it, Todd.
audibletrial.com/WSTR, and you get a free Audible book. So there you go. All right. On to our main topic.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right, my friend. This is something. That was a great dissertation of this statement, this thesis.
Only had one lesson.
One take. So this got some traction last week, and I think it all came from the other Twitter, the RM Last Jedi, remaking Last Jedi. This started from a Twitter person named Azul, and this was posted on June 3rd, and it literally got a lot of traction last week because I think everyone wants to remake Star Wars in some form or fashion. So this thing is just full of interesting insight. So I figured, we did, last week we did tease that we're going to talk about Anakin Skywalker, but we have to put this on pause because this is hot.
It was too good. Too juicy.
It's too good. It's too juicy, man. It's too juicy. So
you know what they say? There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to strike while the iron's hot.
Well, and it's podcasting. We're a little flexible, so don't worry. We're gonna talk to about Anakin because he ain't going anywhere. Well, he kind of went somewhere, but he's still around.
Yeah.
All right. Should we just start from the beginning on this thing, or what?
I guess let's dive in. Get your protective gear on. Get your stormtrooper suit on, and let's wade through this trash compactor.
Okay, so I mean, again, there's a lot to saying from the fans about The Last Jedi. So everyone's saying The Last Jedi was too political because it included women, and Rian Johnson somehow is not a true fan. Those kind of things, and he didn't handle the material lightly. I think that's kind of, or he. Not lightly, but he wasn't sensitive enough, I guess, to the fans or something,
Yeah.
So
he didn't pull them enough.
Yeah, or he's just pushing his political agendas or agendai. What's the plural for agenda? Like agendas or agenda?
Agendum.
Agendums.
I don't know.
Something. Yeah. Something like that. So I mean, I think this we talked about this before, Aaron. Who owns Star Wars?
Oh,
and I'm just gonna break it down for you right now. It's Disney.
Yeah.
It's not too much debate. No, even George Lucas doesn't own Star Wars anymore. But yeah, we talked about that before, and I think it is who owns Star Wars, And it's like all these other franchises. What do you? I mean, we're consumers. We consume that product. It's not like we have
a say in the matter.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So if you were a Deadpool fan for who knows how long, it's didn't he get knocked around between a bunch of different movie studios before landing at, was it Fox? And then Marvel bought Deadpool. Yeah. And it's don't even get me started on the X-Men. And
well, I was gonna say the first Ryan Reynolds X-Men that was in X-Men, that was Deadpool with the burnt face. No, that's not my Deadpool. Now it's the new
hashtag
Deadpool.
not my Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's really weird because it's like whoever makes the property, I guess, or the characters of the story, it's like it starts off when they're just George Lucas at the typewriter typing away on Star Wars. It's his thing.
Right. Yeah.
And when he's trying to make the movie and gather up support for it and everything, it's still kind of his weird project, but he's getting other people on to help create it. But as soon as it's done and like released out into the world, it's not really George Lucas's anymore. It's the universe's.
People!
It's the people, the universe.
It's the cosmos.
But, he didn't release it for free out of the goodness of his heart. It's like, this is where commerce comes in, and nobody likes that. But in order to make these things, someone's got to own some things and charge admission to things. And so then you have 20th Century Fox owning like the distribution rights. Right. Yeah, at least for New Hope. And then it got switched over to Lucasfilm. But then like that gets sold off, and it's like, so we have like the commerce part that owns Star Wars, and right now that's Disney and Lucasfilm, and that's the part that's responsible for distribution and creating new Star Wars material. But then you have, I guess, the art, which it's the more abstract concepts of the story and the characters and everything, which started as George Lucas's, but then through the creative process and the release of it, it's now bigger than him and bigger than even Disney, and it doesn't really even belong to any one entity anymore, but it's pretty much everybody who has some kind of identification with it and almost like a sense of belonging. It's like they kind of own it too. It's really weird. I'm almost speaking religiously here. So it's like,
it is.
You have, let's say the Catholic Church, if I'm not going to be stepping on too many toes here, whatever. It's our podcast. WSTR.
We already offended blind people.
Yeah, whatever. We've already taken shots at the blind. It's only, it's only up from here.
Right.
So you have like, you have Christ and what he taught and all of that. And then you get the Catholic Church, which starts after that. And then it kind of owns like the system of belief, or it tries to systematize it in a way that other people can be like, Catholicism, boom, 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 boom. This is what you believe. Okay,
now
I can
give us money
to that.
Give us money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so it's like, they got to pay their priests. They got to build churches. They've got to
They got
to print Bibles. And so it's like, money's got to come in. But at the same time, they're not really anything without the congregation, and the congregation is not really anything without the church with a capital C. And it's a weird kind of symbiosis between, I guess, like.
You do say midichlorians?
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
I don't know. It's just a weird symbiosis between.
It's a theme in Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah.
Those who who own and charge for and create the systems for Star Wars, and everybody else who enjoys the benefits of it and has their soul fed by it. And they pay back too with.
And funds it.
They fund it. They create their own fan works. They, do their own cosplay and whatever form of worship you choose. It's like that's
tattoos.
Tattoos. It's like it feeds back and forth. So it's like in a way, yes, the fans own it, but so does Disney.
Yeah. No. Disney and the stockholders own it, ultimately, So that's a great analogy. It is. It's messy. It's a messy thing, but I just don't understand all this, but I want to respect it in a way that, it's like, we believe that Lucasfilm has willfully and malignantly discarded the fans in the sole pursuits of misguided political agendas, and therefore in our own inalienable right to refuse to fund the franchise and call on Disney to change those who are in charge of Lucasfilm. Whew. So they acknowledge Disney's the head, obviously, but they're saying, take down the leaders of Lucasfilm, because apparently
Drain the swamp.
Yeah. Apparently they have a political agenda that these fans, these Star Wars fans, don't agree with. What is that political agenda?
Well, they didn't do a good job of telling us, so I suppose we have to speculate. I really don't know, because they tend to be, and this is the problem with documents like this, like if you want to call it a document, it's like they don't specify what political ideas they're objecting against. And it's like, okay, if you want people to actually do something about what you're disagreeing with, be specific so they actually know what to do or what you want.
Right.
And so it's like, I mean, if we're speaking strictly politically here, it's like, oh, there's too many. You could be like, oh, there's too many fascist right-wing overtones in Star Wars, being the Empire. And it's like, well, they're Nazis in space. So what do you expect?
Right, exactly.
I mean, is it like socialism that they're seeing in Star Wars? Because I don't see that anywhere. Is it? Here's what. Let's give this argument its due course. I think what they're objecting against is, I suppose, intersectional politics, which is basically the idea that what your sex is, what your sexual preference or expression is, what your race is, what your abilities or disabilities are, however many categories you want to make. It's like those all kind of intersect, and basically it's a power game of people with certain characteristics, like you're white, you're male, you're American, you're rich, whatever. Kind of having like a power game over those with those classifications that they don't like, apparently. I'm trying to give this argument its fair due, but anyway, that's the idea as far as I understand it. And maybe that's what they're getting at, because they're like, oh, a female's the protagonist now, and a black guy is in it now. And I could see them looking at the new Star Wars movies and being like, oh, Disney's trying to check all the boxes and have a female in the lead, and have an Asian person in the lead, and a black guy in the lead, and blah, blah, blah. And so, I guess, but at the same time, I'm like, even if that were the case,
right,
what exactly are you losing, or what is changing about Star Wars? Is it, I don't know, it's because you're having to think about these things when you watch the movie now, which, fair enough, if you just want to escape into Star Wars and not have to deal with any of that, I can see your point. I think maybe the most blatant expression of this would be L3 in Solo.
Yeah, we talked about that in our Han Solo review. Yeah, the whole like droid worker uprising thing. I guess that's the closest thing to like, I guess, Marxism that you could see in it. But it's like, well, it goes back to having a political agenda for a character that they designed it around that, and maybe not the character itself,
Yeah, and if that's your point, like, that's the point I made about L3, and it's like, but be specific about it. Don't just be like, oh, it's too political.
But Aaron, you're supposed to hate the whole franchise after that.
I know, hatred is easy, but come on, we got to think here. That's how things actually change.
What? No, that is false.
Thinking is hard.
right, exactly. Well,
Thinking is hard. Retweeting is easy.
Yeah, exactly. Liking is easy. Beep, 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 beep.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. You have, so this is the short history of current leadership of Lucasfilm that has to continue grievous offenses and insults against all consumers who have been a fan of the franchise for any period of time, but it was before it was purchased by Disney. Okay. So you have disrespected the characters of the original trilogy, treating them as mere tools and stepping stones for new characters rather than the heroes they actually are. Okay. So
what are your thoughts on this, Todd?
Well, I mean, they go into this later, but it's basically, original three. So we have Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia. So Luke Skywalker not being the hero they are, I guess. I can understand that, but, I think the biggest thing in Han Solo, well, they go into this later too, so it's like I don't want to keep on repeating myself. But I don't know if it's disrespected. I think, again, this is not their movie. Or movies, Their movies was the original trilogy. Now this is about the offspring, about it's more about what's happening in the world later than, what's happening in the galaxy now, not what these people are doing, these heroes that we grew up with, or what's happening in this galaxy. It's like, or in this timeline, it's like their story, not that it's past, but this is, we're essentially following new characters, I don't know. I think we don't need a rehash of the, not to be funny, but it's like, we don't need a geriatric trilogy where like
yeah.
Luke, Han, and Leia are not doing the same things they did, 30 years ago. So it's like,
remember when
they're in the
no,
they're still stuck in Endor. They're like hanging out with Wicket, and they're just like super old, and Chewie's still, looking good, but everybody else is not looking good, and they're just like, remember, we blew up that Death Star.
If you really want to try to have your characters, basically rehashing old ground and not really innovating in any way that's meaningful, that's how you get Indiana Jones 4. And we don't want that, do we?
No. Well, again, true leadership is passing on the things into into another person, into another generation, so that's what Obi-Wan did. Mm-hmm. And that's what Yoda did. I could almost, like, if the prequels came out first, right? The prequels came out first, mm-hmm. like they should have, like if George did it chronologically, then people would be like, dude, Yoda? What's he doing? He's just hanging out, being cranky and kooky on a mud planet. That's not my Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
And then like Obi-Wan, like, he's like, I'm too old for this. Like, I can't go on some damn crusade. He's damn fool crusade. He's like, I can't do this. I mean, he literally says that in the beginning of New Hope. And if you watch it with the goggles of like how we watch Force Awakens and Last Jedi compared to the new, compared to the original trilogy, it's the same thing. It's like, dude, I wanted Yoda and Obi-Wan to own this, and yet they die off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so I don't know. That's the way I kind of see it. It's like, if you're, it's just, it's a progression. These characters, yes, we love them and we want to see where they're at now. But I mean, obviously, like, again, the fanboy in me wants to have them all three on the screen at the same time.
Yeah.
But am I gonna
I guess that's the problem with like having something that's really comfortable and familiar all the time. It's like, you can have that, but that's what happens when things in a system don't change at all. It's like they fossilize and turn into stone, or I guess in this case, get frozen in carbonite. And it's like you can't just have like the old and the familiar and the safe, because then it's the idea of everybody trying to decide like what's canon or not. Hashtag not my Jedi, whatever. It's like a bunch of rules get enforced on it, and it's like, stop. It's like you need new life to be breathed into it and to chart into new horizons in order for the thing to be kept alive,
Well, and the other thing too, you're seeing this through a different lens because Carrie's gone. We moved, in a sense, everyone's saying you didn't have that opportunity to do that now. Okay. Well, it happens all the time in life. Like, families are messed up. You say some bad things, and then you don't talk to somebody forever, and then all of a sudden they pass, and you're like, oh, I should have not said that, and I should have spent more time with them, and all those things kind of go through your head when somebody leaves, we didn't leave on good terms, or, I should have took that back, but you can't redo that. And that's where people are saying, well, now that Carrie passed, you ruined Rian Johnson, you ruined Carrie Fisher because of this, or, ruined the idea of Princess Leia and that kind of thing. And that's seen through an eyes because she's not here, but at the same time, it's done. And even if Carrie was alive, Disney's not going to be like, oh, we got to change the script, and now we have to have all three guys, well, wait a minute, you just killed off Han in Force Awakens. You can't, it's like, it's a slippery slope. You're just like, I get to the point where it's Star Wars is supposed to stretch you, and if you're used to the same thing, then you're just remaking something for fan service, and that's not good. Not that again, like, fans' opinions matter, because you want to put butts in the seats, but you don't want to have a story doesn't move anywhere,
Yeah, and I guess on the other side of that coin, it's like, if you have way too many new stuff without any kind of ties to the old ways of doing things, it's like you end up in nonsense land where nothing makes sense, and it's all chaotic, and it's like, I mean, some people would say The Last Jedi is that, and fair enough if that's what you think, but we need stuff like that in order to edge us out far enough to be like, okay, maybe that was too far, but what happens if we take it step a little bit back, and now we're in this cool, comfortable, I guess comfortable is the wrong word. We're in this cool zone now where it's like, we're not too comfortable.
It's kind of edgy, but I'm still kind of,
we're not too comfortable, but we're still experiencing something new and fresh and bold. And now that's how something gets really meaningful. So, I mean, it's been 6 years since Disney has had Star Wars.
Yes.
I feel like we're still kind of like in the puberty stage where it's just like, everything's awkward, and we're still trying to figure ourselves out. Right, exactly. But I think, how long did it take to get, the Marvel formula for superhero movies, and how many awful superhero movies did we have to endure before they found something that really worked?
Right. Exactly.
I think we'll get to that point where, they'll have the Star Wars, they'll crack the Star Wars code, and all of a sudden we'll be like, like, this is where Star Wars should be now. And then, everybody rejoices. And then a bunch of more people complain on Twitter and get retweeted and followed and whatever.
Yeah. But Aaron, you have used your new characters as toys and tools to push an agenda of masculine Inferiority. Jeez,
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well,
Masculine inferiority.
I'm inferior just saying that word. I can't even say it.
See, it's the agenda's already taken you down.
It's already taken me down. I can't even speak. I'm tongue-tied. Yep. I can't even say it. Oh boy, I think this is the Holdo thing. I think, or Rose. I'm not sure. Too many Ray. There's too many girls. Just too many girls. It's so
I feel
so
threatened
funny
by these fictional women.
It's so funny because if you literally watch A New Hope, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, owns the two boys. I mean, she owns them.
Somebody has to save our skins.
Yeah, get in the garbage chute, Flyboy. I mean, like, she's not, is money all you want? That's what you'll get. Like she sees through right through Han. She's calling out Luke, like, why are you even rescuing me? You're like, who are you? Like,
when Luke first sees Leia, immediately she just cuts him down to size, like, aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? And it's like,
and literally, and Luke is like, seriously, like, you're so hot. I got your droid. I got Obi-Wan, like, but yeah, she's like, and this girl's on her she's on stay of execution. She's like going to be killed by, Tarkin and her dad. Yeah. No big deal. And yeah, she owns it. And I and that was in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man.
I don't know. Do you think they were raising a stink about that in the 70s? Or maybe everybody was just too high to care. WSTR podcast, a family friendly PG podcast.
Smoking doobies. Okay, here we go. You have lied to George Lucas when you told him that legacy characters would be protected and make sure they would continue to live in the way that he created them. This is just trumped up. Fake news. This is fake because George Lucas knew exactly what he was doing. And in fact, I think in that 2020 interview, he kind of compared Disney to slavers, and I he knew.
Yep.
Again, when he, we talked about this the other week about, the more of what his script was going to be, like more midichlorian biological kind of trilogy, getting more into the wills of the Force. He had a script, and that's what he sold to Disney, so he knew they're not his anymore. They're not. So
it just makes me wonder what the people who wrote this document were thinking Disney were going to do with Star Wars, because it's not their job to safeguard it.
Well, I mean, they're protecting their investment. They want to make good on their Ford bill, right? But here's the deal. If George Lucas hated Star Wars so much, would he have shown up at the set with Ron Howard and filmed some solo shots? No. He's fine. He's still, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. You've lied to George Lucas, and here's it's the same. It's like they say the same thing. You have lied to George Lucas when you said you want to do something for the fans, and now fully reneged upon that promise, telling Mark Hamill that the stories you want to tell matter more than the fans. I think this is kind of on this is on the Director and the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where this comes from, where Ryan, and Mark Hamill definitely butt heads, and Hamill lets him know, like, I don't think this is where I would see Luke at, I don't know if they reneged on the promise, but yeah, I don't know about this one. What do you think, Aaron?
I mean, why do these people care what promises Disney may or may not have made to George Lucas and Mark Hamill? Because again, I think it goes back to, we want the same old comfortable, familiar things, and that's fine, but you got to think from Disney's point of view that they're this large, well-funded, well-established company.
Yeah,
that they're taking care of Star Wars, and they're like, okay, we're going to bring you new Star Wars, more Star Wars than you know how to shake a stick at, and but we're going to do it our way because we have an idea of how to do it in a way that's not going to bankrupt us and will probably lead to more Star Wars in the future. Please and thank you. So
right, yeah.
It's like, that's the trade-off you got to have. And if you hold too tightly to what you think Star Wars means to you, or I guess means in the grand scheme of things, it's like you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad to say that, but that's just how it is.
Well, I think part of this, I mean, unfortunately, as much as I love Mark Hamill, I think part of this was fueled by Mark Hamill just on that press junket tour, kind of disagreeing a little bit openly, which is fine. That's his opinion. Not that it's just in the social media age, like it just grabbed and the wildfire spread,
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You have given the core trinity of characters from the original trilogy terrible send-offs. Luke Skywalker dying as a sour old man who couldn't be bothered to come help his sister in person or mourn the loss of his best friend. Han Solo dying by the blade of his own son in a move that ultimately had zero impact on his psychological state moving forward. Leia flying back to the Radis in a comedic scene that reminds one of Mary Poppins and will shamefully forever be how Carrie Fisher's last outing and film will be remembered. Okay. Part of it, I like. Some of this I kind of agree with. Some of this I don't. Again, you look at Yoda. I'm just going back to Yoda. Yoda is kind of senile, kind of going crazy in Dagobah when Luke finds him. He's not the proud warrior he once was. And Luke's kind of in that same position when Rey meets him. Luke is maybe suicidal, maybe not thinking about the best things, and feels like he has to really, he has to pull away from the Force, because if he does anything, it's going to change something, and something's going to bad happen,
it's like, it's too much responsibility for him to handle.
Yep.
For any one person to handle.
Han Solo dying by the blade of his own son, ultimately having zero impact on his psychological state moving forward. I don't know about you, but Kylo Ren's kind of unstable. Yeah. So
and we don't even. How can you say that when we haven't even seen Episode 9 and how
we haven't seen the third act?
Pays off.
Yeah.
So
exactly. The comedic scene again, Mary Poppins. Yeah, I didn't like. It's not comedy. I just didn't like it. And shamefully forever be how Carrie Fisher's last outing in film remember. I don't remember that part. I blocked that out. But I mean, I remember. What I do remember is that tender moment between Luke and Leia on Crates. That's what I remember. That's a very powerful scene. I block out the Mary Poppins thing, but whatever. I mean, can
you at least see it as the manifestation of her fighting spirit to try to keep alive even when she should be dead?
Yes, right. The execution, again.
Maybe the execution sucks, but
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Get the main idea behind it, maybe.
John Williams' score is amazing in that scene anyways, but it's just how it's executed. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets crazy. You have shamelessly attacked anyone who has voiced a negative opinion, calling them a racist, a sexist, monogamist, and members of the alt-right dislike the direction. I'm sorry. Monogamous, telling them that they must have a problem with strong women, telling them that they're overweight white males, and members of the alt-right dislike the direction You are taking the franchise.
Okay, is this based on anything that Disney or anybody associated with Disney has said or tweeted or
no.
wrote? Because this seems like projecting.
Disney definitely didn't say, "Hey, white males, use
listen up.
Listen up. You better listen to women."
Yeah. I don't know what that was.
Get all choked up.
Yeah. So, I will say the whole Larry Kasdan, like a week before Solo coming out, saying that Lando is pansexual apparently.
Oh yeah,
because he likes droids on the side. That
little robots.
To me, that wasn't helpful at all in this whole conversation. And if that's part of the whole political complaint against Lucasfilm, fair enough. But he wasn't really speaking on behalf of Lucasfilm anyway. So it's not like announcement on StarWars.com. It's like, hey everybody, Lando likes some, WD-40 sometimes. But
well, it's just saying like the Emperor. I mean, he wants complete annihilation of all alien species. No big deal. You know,
xenophobia.
Like, I don't want those, and he uses them for his will, so I don't know. It's like, I think it's just saying that, and there is a point to this. Again, it's not black and white, guys. Like, this is, it's like everyone is entitled to their opinion, and you have to respect that. And it's good to have good debates about these things. I really do believe that. That's part of Star Wars. It's part of life. But like, to say it's one or the other, I'm going to use Obi-Wan. Now you're talking like a Sith. You can't. You're dealing absolutes. Yeah. You can't. It's like, you and I can see that it goes back to art. You and I can see something. We can see a painting, and you think it's beautiful, and I think it's garbage.
Yeah. But maybe there are garbagey parts of the painting that I overlook, and I can only see because you point them out. And it's like, maybe there are beautiful parts to it that you don't see until I point them out. And it's like,
and that's what I want in the Star Wars community, is that healthy things. There's going to be things about every movie and everything that comes out from Disney that you might not like totally agree with. Like, I didn't like L3. You didn't like L3. I didn't like Mary Poppins Leia, but it didn't ruin it for me. It's just, I didn't like Jar Jar Binks. That's, I didn't like Ewoks. I didn't like Ewoks. And Heather is slowly, after many years of holding on to that hatred, it's finally kind of, it's run its course. You know what I'm saying?
It's like someone made you a sandwich and it's got crust on it and you don't like the crust. It's like,
don't like the crust.
First of all, try it. You just might like it. Second of all, cut off the crust. Enjoy the rest of the sandwich.
Make your fan edit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This one I have a hard time with because I feel like it isn't right or wrong. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just, you have to look at it, and I agree. You want quality, a quality product, quality story, quality. I do think, if they slow down or speed up or whatever they're doing with the Solo, like the Solo, standalone films, think about it first before you just go film it. Like, I feel like they do need to take a pause and take a book from Marvel and say, okay, what's the whole deal? Let's kind of pan out, just not say, Jabba the Hutt, he's hot, let's do it. Let's do a Jabba movie. I mean, and again, like Disney's not going to go to a Twitter poll, and say, who do you want? Who's your next movie? And like, yep, thank you. That's what we're going to do. But they do listen. So it's not, again, they are listening. It's not like they're just like, oh, we're just going to
want to make bad movies because bad movies don't make money.
That's right.
But it just gets messy because you have so many different people wanting so many different things, and it's like, what do we do?
Oh, I did find out. I don't know if I told you this or whatever, but the reason, so Lucasfilm wanted to push it to December, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
And so the reason that Disney didn't want to do that is because they knew they already invested $250 million in this thing. And
You're talking about Solo.
And they felt like, okay, Infinity War's awesome, doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibles 2 doing great, blah, blah, blah. They want to put Solo in their fiscal year, so it's been absorbed by all this good stuff, so the stock looks good. But if they go into next year, they already knew, like, they don't, that's still uncertain.
Oh, the expenditures are on the previous fiscal year.
Yes. Right, exactly. So the $250 million that they invested is already on this year. So if they release in December, it's past the fiscal year, and then it's more of a loss than. You see what I'm saying? Okay,
well,
they're still going to make money on the DVD release. It's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah. It's all fine. Merchandising.
Merchandise. And it only made $350 million. It's a flop.
Yep, total failure. Hey, if anyone's still listening to this, and they may have signed to this declaration or retweeted it or whatever, and it's okay, we poked some fun at you. Whatever, don't take it personally. I'm just saying, like, it's fine that you disagree with the way Disney is taking it, and you may disagree really strongly, but can you find things about what's happening with Star Wars that you do appreciate? Like, if you really, sit on the end of your bed and think about it really hard, it's like, can you think of things that you really appreciate about the new Star Wars? And I bet you could come up with some things.
Yeah.
And, if you want things to change, that's good and that's fine. But the way to do that is to have conversations with other people. Maybe your mind will be changed, maybe not. I know mine certainly has, as we've done these podcasts.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, a lone, isolated voice can't really do much to change things. But I know the way you don't change things is by, signing petitions and passing around things that makes it feel like you're doing something, and it's good and cathartic, and it gets the emotions out, and you're like, but it's not helping anybody. So it's like, okay,
hate leads to suffering.
Yeah. And so in one sense, it's not like, Lucasfilm and Disney are not your elected representatives, and you can't just like vote them out of office. How nice that would be, but that's just not the way things work. So I would just encourage you to try to go along for the ride and think, okay, maybe my ideas about what Star Wars is and what it means to me, that's important. But maybe I can put those up on the bookshelf for now and see what new books are coming out. And maybe I like some of this, some of that, and put that on the shelf too. Yeah. But just like try to approach it with an open mind and an understanding, like, hey, I'm not going to like everything new that comes forward, but it's probably better than not getting any new things at all. So, let's just go on the adventure.
I would also encourage people to create something.
Yes.
If you don't like it, then create something.
Critique by creating.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we do this podcast.
That's right. Create something, I would encourage you to do that as well. It's just like, go out and create something, or find like-minded folk to create something that you want. And hey, these people that want to remake Last Jedi, do it. Do it.
I hope they succeed. If for nothing else, we get more Star Wars.
That's okay, right. Exactly.
I said it.
Yep.
I'm not having high hopes that it'll turn out to be any good, but hey, if they're able to get enough people on their side and they all come together and make this thing, it's like,
do it.
Hooray! We've got a new voice in the market of ideas, and like, it's never a bad thing.
There's great fan films out. I mean, there's a couple Darth Maul fan films that I'm just like, whoa,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
But it's not canon, Todd.
I don't care.
How can I appreciate it if it's not canon?
Just make it. Make it. But I do agree. This last part. All right. So this is the last sentence. To these ends, we pledge our merchandise, our honor and our wallets.
All caps.
All caps. I don't know if we pledge our merchandise. I think it like wallets and merchandise are the same thing. It's like I'll go back to our good friend Alex Chelberg. He way back he said this, and it's still stuck to me to this day. We are what we consume, you know. So it goes back to you're just movies. Fine, that's all you do, or your movies and books, or your movies, books, toys, or your movie, books, toys, and video games, or T-shirts, or whatever you buy. You can affect Disney in that way if you don't want to pledge your allegiance to them. But there's other things you can do. So if you don't want, again, it goes back to the whole thing with like, even with EA and Battlefront 2, nobody bought it because of all this microtransaction, and that hurt them. Hurt them.
They went back on the whole thing.
And they like, some of us, like myself, who bought it and spent all these credits getting these things, all these skins unlocked, and then they come back and like, they're free. So it's like, oh, I just did all this stuff and now I can't get that back. Okay, great.
Here's your sense of pride and accomplishment.
Thank you. EA. But yeah, I mean, that's it. You can affect it that way, you know, like EA saw that right away, you know, like, Disney saw that right away. Actually, Disney is the one that stepped in and said, we're not doing this.
Oh yeah. Bob Iger with his midnight phone call. You got to shut all this down.
No, Bob Iger's like, they haven't even said Last Jedi yet, and we know they're going to react to that. So can we keep the peace till like December, please? You know? So yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you can affect your fandom and all that through that. So I would encourage you to do that, you know.
I would maybe not pledge my honor to Star Wars. I think that's maybe you and I have different ideas about what honor means, but
sure.
Yeah, if there's any voting to be done at all, it's with your dollars.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
We just talked for an hour about this. This is awesome.
I know. All right, so our good buddy, your good buddy, Mr. Dave Sager, my friend. Yes, he said on the old Twitter, you guys should have an episode where you talk about if you all directed a remake of The Last Jedi, what would it look like? What meta and tips of the hat would you give? I think it would be fun. So if would there be anything, I mean, would you remake the whole thing or just parts?
I almost think it might work better as like a season of a TV show. And I haven't fully thought this through, but it's like, if we wanted to have the Canto Bight sequence in there, it's like, that'd be fine for an episode or two of like a TV series if you set it up and pay it off well. Even if in the grand scheme of things, you end up where you began, it's like, that's happened in TV before, but they do it in such a way where it's interesting and you get character development along the way. And it's like, oh, that would make it worth it. But if we're sticking to the feature film model, I'd probably take Canto Bight out altogether. There's so much that I'm like, maybe I'd fix, maybe I'm not. It's like the Leia, Mary Poppins thing. There might be a better way to do that. Maybe, somebody collects her, but like a droid goes out and, grabs her and brings her back. And it's like, oh, she's still alive.
It was C-3PO. He doesn't like flying, but he goes out there. Yeah.
But then it's like, we wouldn't have gotten any kind of significant display of the Force through Leia. So it's like, is that worth it?
For me, it would have been like, you would like see a Force bubble, like she, like a little bubble, but then,
and then like the color returns to her face and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the bubble floats and there's lots of little bubbles. No, like SpongeBob's out there blowing bubbles
under the sea.
Under the sea. The thing that I don't like is the linear space chase and it kind of goes to the whole Cantobite thing. Like, all right, so you're Ryan is definitely establishing like it's desperate, and they already established in Force Awakens like the First Order knew where the Resistance at, and so we're getting right into it.
Yep. Base is blown up.
Base is blown up. Yeah. They blew up the base, but they knew where they're going back, and so we knew that the First Order would find them. I don't like the Battlestar Galactica kind of like space race, like, and we're slowly going through space, but they can't hit us. I that's the only thing I might change. Like I get the desperation, like it's like we're down to the last of the last,
Yeah.
Just somehow getting to crate quicker. I don't know. We have to add some kind of drama in the second act, because it's like it's really getting. It's like that second act is the weakest part of the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? Like
maybe instead of the Canto Bite nonsense, like what if they got to crash land the ship transporting everybody, and it's like, oh no, like we lost half of them, and it's like we got to get
Yoda
the rest.
shows up on Dagobah. They ended up in Dagobah. Yoda shows up.
And it's like they got to get the rest of them like off the ship and into the base, and then it's like, oh, how are we gonna fight these guys?
Yeah, exactly.
But meanwhile, they're like swooping in and landing like off in the horizon. It's like, they're right here. So I don't know. I'm not a movie man. I'm not a director.
Well, but it goes back to what I said earlier. You have to create something, and it takes a lot to create something. And we talked about this before. Disney's not, and Lucasfilm is not out to make a bad movie. There's a lot of creative people and a lot of amazing ideas. And I would encourage you to go out and purchase The Art of Books, because they're awesome and they have amazing ideas that don't even make the movie, but you're like, whoa, that's like, or some of them are so left field. You're like, whoa. Yeah,
it's like that would have been cool, but maybe it wouldn't have worked out, and that's why they cut it. But still, it's like, possibility, new ideas. Imagine
new
that.
ideas. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, we talked about this before. Like, there was like 14,000 different like U-wings before they came out with the U-wing. When they did Rogue One, it's like there's all these different permutations, and again, you have to create something before and say, oh, maybe this will work or maybe not. So, Dave,
I know why they cut the Patrick Ewing. Bad joke,
but awesome. We always need your dad joke.
Yep, I suppose.
You're like, I suppose. That was great.
Thanks for that question, Dave.
Yeah, I know it's tip of the hats. I don't know. We have to, if we would have to have one tip of the hat that's like, like a wink, like.
So send us more questions, please, listeners, viewers,
on the Twitter or the Instagram, And maybe if we didn't read a 20-minute dissertation, we could have remade the whole Star Wars or something. But
there you go.
All right, shall we move on to news of the week?
And now, the Star Wars news of the week.
All right, hey, speaking about Battlefront, there's going to be some updates.
Oh, hey.
Hey-oh. I didn't even plan that, but there you go. July is going to have new Hero Starfighter mode, focus on hero ship battles. Heroes will be able to turn their lightsabers on and off. Whoa.
That seems like a pretty basic function. I'm not sure why it took them this long, but
well,
what's the advantage? Like, do you run faster when it's off or something?
I guess maybe you don't slice up other people while you're running. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's 2018. Now we can turn off lightsabers on and off. Awesome. August, Clone Trooper skins, new emotes and victory poses. Yes. Like fall, Obi-Wan Kenobi and General Grievous will join the game.
Well, hello there.
Hello there. And then General Grievous, when you see him, he's just like coughing. He's like,
you are a bold one.
Yeah, exactly. New large. Oh, did you know? I mean, this is how my brain goes. Matthew Wood recorded George Lucas because he had a bad cough, and that's General Grievous.
Really?
Yes. There you go.
The more
Matthew
you know.
Wood. Yeah, Matthew Wood actually voiced General Grievous, and then he got the George Lucas cough and put them together.
You just drag him over into the recording booth?
George, that sounds horrible. Come to the sound booth right away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Also in the fall, you'll get a cold, but you will also get new large-scale mode with even more players. Oh my gosh. There you go. New squad system, too. Interesting.
What?
Yeah,
they're going full Battlefield.
Yeah. Winter is coming. Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku will join the game. Geonosis will be an added location. Yeah, sure, exactly. And right now, if you want to get the best of the best, you got to get an Xbox One X because it's got the most texture feeling, filtering, higher resolution.
About PC.
Well, I guess you could get an.
All this stuff is already there.
Okay. Go get a PC. I don't care. But if you want a console,
I'm a very biased member of the PC master race.
You are what you are consume. Okay, man. Yep, you can get your PC and get your 6 graphic cards.
All with, your gigabits.
Your liquid nitrogen cooling tank of.
Actually, my cooling system's like a huge heat sink. And nice. I took the fans out of it, so there's no moving parts. So it's like,
whoa.
I use really quiet fans in it too. So it's like when it's running, you can't even hear that it's on. It's like
it just melts.
It's literally like 3 feet away from my microphone right now, and you can't even hear it. It's like,
dude, can't even hear it.
That's why
it's a PC whisperer. It's like, just doesn't even do anything.
Yep.
All right, let's see. What else? What else is going on?
News of the week.
News of the week. Oh, okay. Here we go, dude. This is where I'm telling you, we are in a golden age. Disney is preparing the, Galaxy Edge. Going to go to Batu. And according to Cinema Blend, Disney has submitted a patent for real life blaster akin to the ones that you use in the Star Wars films.
What?
Oh, man. I cannot wait for this thing. First, you're telling me
you're lying to me.
No, I'm not. This thing it's going to be real, dude. First of all, you're going to have droids walking around. They're going to offer you beverages and, I don't know, talk to you. There's going to be.
I want that droid that like fills Lando's drink in Solo, but like in the restaurant. So you could just be like,
dude.
Waiter.
Seriously,
fills it up.
Seriously, this was going to happen. I'm going to go to Disney in 2020. I'm just going to sit in the cantina for like 7 days. I'm not going to leave.
Dude.
I'm just going to be barfly and just like look around.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Hey, man. Yeah. So now we got real life blasters. So there you go. It's happening, people.
How does that even work?
So, you know what's going to happen, dude? I'm going to tell you, like in 2025, they're going to be like, we figured out how to do a lightsaber, cuts through everything. Here you go. And it's like, you're at Galaxy's Edge. Like,
well, it says here the technology would use a series of reflective surfaces to display the blaster shot in motion. It would work best in a dark ride where the reflective surfaces would be hidden while park guests run around and take shots at each other.
It's pretty much like laser tag, but you'd literally see the laser as it's going to the other person.
That's wild. I need to see this thing.
I'm in.
Can I have like Jin's blaster, please?
Yeah.
The Luger.
All right, and then finally, the last one is again. It's going back to Disney Star Wars universe imploding. This is coming from Motley Fool. Motley Fool. Okay, a disturbance in the Force. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. More than a month after the film's release, Solo's box office sits roughly at $350 million worldwide, but with the estimated $250 million in production budget, plus a big advertiser push, you're in the neighborhood of losing about $50 million.
Oof.
Yeah, much of that can be recouped, obviously, through home release distribution and merchandising. It's even possible that these factors would put the picture back in the black And again, this is what I was talking about earlier. It was all about Disney absorbing that cost now than waiting for, Lucasfilm to get that December release and make more money. Maybe, possibly, you never know. However, it's clear that however, it seems clear that the things are not right in the galaxy far, far away, and that development is close to home for Disney shareholders. Much of the blame is rightly being put on the Solo's week ticket sales, but it looks like Last Jedi was where things started to come off the rails. We kind of went through that.
Yeah. Rewind the podcast if you weren't paying attention.
Right. Aaron and Todd, how so? Well, just rewind.
Yeah. I don't know who you are, Motley Fool, but
right.
Thrawn Alliances is coming out pretty soon. So it's like, if that's coming out, surely the whole thing isn't doomed to sink.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, again, it goes back. I think they do have to pause, have to wait, and make it right, and and have a long-term plan. That's all we're asking. I remember Armand said to wait 10 years. I don't think we have to wait 10 years, but wait a couple, after episode 9 and then just blow us away, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to Katina Chat. All right, Aaron. Anything geeky going on with you this week? What's happening?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
Yeah, I got a tip from a customer at work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself.
Hot tip.
Yeah. So gave me $20, which is like, so. Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice. So I went. For those who don't know, I collect vinyl records. Once we get this,
I wish they could see. Yeah,
once we get this live stream thing figured out, you'll see it in my cam. But I got 2 weeks ago, I got a proper shelving unit for it and everything. But anyway, I
Hey, but Aaron, it's so retro to use milk crates. Why aren't you using milk crates?
Oh, come on.
Very good.
Because to get like
good, though.
4 milk crates would be like $60. When I got this much sturdier, nicer shelving unit for like $45.
Okay.
IKEA, ladies and gentlemen, we are not sponsored by them, but anyway, so record shopping. Went record shopping yesterday, and I saw there.
Do they even exist?
Yes, there's one.
Oh, okay.
There's one that I like to go to, but it's closed on Sundays, and I worked Saturday, and I'm like, fine, whatever. So I went to Half Price Books, which is like the, I guess, Walmart of record shops now.
Okay.
Anyway, went in there. They had the Return of the Jedi soundtrack, and a storybook record for A New Hope and Return of the Jedi, where they pull dialogue from the movie, add in music and sound effects, and basically tell the story of the whole movie in one record.
That is, I'm shaking my head. No, that's too much awesomeness.
Yeah. I didn't end up getting it. I ended up getting two. Well, it's still there, so like I can go back next week and I'll probably get it. But it's like I have to set limits for myself, otherwise I would just waste my whole paycheck there.
Good thing you only had $20 to spend.
Yeah. So I end up getting Synchronicity by The Police and The Grand Illusion by Styx, 2 bands that I just like. Oh, I love them so much. So got some great albums. But yeah, I spotted some hardcore old school Star Wars nerd cred out in the record shop.
But you didn't purchase it, so that's your next.
I didn't, but I've got A New Hope on Laserdisc somewhere here. Well, so shut your trap, young man.
Dude, I'm not trying to take away your Star Wars cred. Don't.
Yeah, no.
Don't. Yeah.
So yeah,
I need to see your license. I need to see it.
Yeah, maybe next payday I'll go back and snag them.
We, the Star Wars fans, need to see your license.
Yeah. What about you, Todd? Any cantina business going down?
dude, I'm building a blaster to take out some people in a cantina, so I'm still.
How long does it take?
Oh, it takes a while, man. A lot of painting, a lot of sanding, and it's a labor of love. So I'm almost done.
Dude, pick a Sunday or Saturday or whatever. We'll come over, help you with it. Do our evil mastermind yearly meeting for the podcast.
Yeah. And while you're at it, why don't you just sand my blaster so I can get this stuff worked for my cosplay,
Well, I still have your Art of Rogue One book that I need to return.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all good. I appreciate you though. The honor system there,
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm almost done with the DLT 19, and I can't wait to cosplay in it.
Hey, follow our Instagram account, and you'll see the DLT 9 in 19 in all its glory.
All its glory. It's almost done. So yeah, I like that week. This weekend, I'm like, oh, it's hot out. The paint will dry real quick. So I'm like, spray painting it.
Oh, dude, there's like heat index of 104. What are you thinking?
Hot. It was like Tatooine hot, man.
Yeah. I went through a gallon of water that day.
Were you working that on Saturday?
I was working, yeah.
Oh, dude.
Outside in long sleeve and pants.
Outside. Yeah.
I went through a whole gallon.
Did you feel like C-3PO looking at the Krat dragon, just like looking?
No, I felt great, actually.
Over
like,
here.
If you're well hydrated and it's hot, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
You're just like, ooh, I feel the sun now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was hot. It was hot in Chicagoland over the weekend. So
it's hot everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Aaron, you want to wrap this We the Fans Star Wars?
Yep. Let's tie a bow on it and hand it over to, what was the king? King Henry?
King Henry?
Who'd we defect from?
Well, it's Queen Kathleen Kennedy. We're going to hand it over to her.
Yeah, okay. Let's wrap it up. So thanks again for listening to another episode of WSTR Galactic Public Access, a Star Wars podcast. Once again, check us out on social media, WSTR Media, all one word, all lowercase. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, see Todd's progress on the DLT 19, and much more besides. We want to hear from you, so please comment, tweet, rate us on iTunes, email us at mailbox@wstrmedia.com. Leave us a voicemail at 630-557-WSTR. That's 630-557-9787.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not even comfortable like talking on the phone, like I hate talking on the phone. Like I don't like doing it. I put it off as much as possible. But you could type comments or questions on
y'all have
Instagrams.
Keyboards.
Yeah,
y'all have phones,
or you have Siri or Google or Alexa. You could say, "Yo, WSTR Media." And
bada bing, bada boom. It's like talking to a friend. Boom.
Yeah, it's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you could be like Dave, our buddy Dave. He'd be like, "Hey, you got to remake Last Jedi."
Or Darth Waz.
Exactly.
Come on, man. Don't leave him hanging out in the cold.
Oh, I won't.
We need you.
I promise. So just you could comment on the Instagrams or the Twitters or whatever. Dave said at WSTR Media. I'm like, yes. That's all he did. He didn't even comment. It was like, yeah, you rang. What do you want?
Yeah. Are we your butler now? I mean,
yeah. So, but yeah, if you don't want to leave a voicemail, I know that's kind of scary sometimes, but also you could do like 6 takes before we even see the final product. Like you could also do that.
Yeah. So whatever's best for you.
Whatever works.
We've opened the door for you as wide as we can. And we will hold it open as long as we can.
Right, exactly.
What did we talk about? Feedback. You can all right.
Where are we at? Aaron, we just started the episode. I'm sorry. Yeah, we just started.
Yeah, if you want to catch our entire back catalog of episodes, see what the heck we're talking about with The Last Jedi and who owns Star Wars, just pop on over to www.wstrmedia.com, bookmark it, put it in your favorites, add it to your Rolodex, and hey, it's all there. SoundCloud listeners, are you tired of only having 2 episodes available at a time because we won't pay for hosting there anymore? Problem solved.
Yes, I am.
Just go to WSTRmedia.com and find any episode you want.
That's right.
Anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, always there, always waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Netflix thing. You just like binge, listen.
Yeah, it's like Audible, but the only selection is a crappy podcast.
Hey! Hey!
And with that, you now know all the ways to get a hold of us.
Yes, you do.
Next week, for sure, episode 79, Anakin Skywalker. Who is he? What is he? Why is he?
Yeah.
With that, this is podcasting.
We the fans of Star Wars.
We, the fans of Star Wars, have ended this podcast.